My name is Xander Van der Poll. I am 22 years old and I study medicine at Bristol University. I am a rower with a background of um, rugby and also wheelchair athletics. When I was 19 years old, I fell out of a tree and broke my back, leaving me paralyzed from my waist down and dependent on a wheelchair for getting to get around everywhere. After I finished my rehab at the hospital following my accident, I picked up wheelchair racing and wheelchair athletics as a sport, and I took that to quite a competitive level. Um, after my accident, I had a year off, and I traveled the world a little bit. I went to South Africa, my home, and also to USA to go train with the US Paralympic wheelchair racing team. So I managed to get to quite a high level, and I was ranked ninth in the UK for the 200 meters in wheelchair racing. But when I went back to university, I was struggling to find coaching and I was struggling to find support to do so. So I sort of had a little bit of a dip in that. And that's when I found an online advert for British rowing, and specifically the British rowing Paralympic pathway, which they advertised as a sort of way to get into pathway to get onto the British rowing performance squad. And they had a slogan saying it's not for everyone. And I thought actually that high performance mentality really fitted in nicely with my aspirations. So I contacted them and I got in contact with them, and I went down to London for a trial, and that's how I got into rowing. It sort of was a bit of an accident actually. So actually, quite the opposite. I'd say the rowing and the sports that I've done has completely actually helped me overcome those physical and mental challenges. Dealing with a disability isn't easy. It's quite an adjustment, and especially if you go from being able-bodied to becoming disabled, it's quite an adjustment to make. But the sports that I did was one of the main reasons that I actually managed to come out on top. I was in quite a dark place after my accident, and as soon as I actually got in the racing wheelchair for the first time, it just it just cleared everything up. It's almost as if like a cloud lifted. But my physical disability it's almost as if when I get into that boat, it leaves it, and it gives a different aspect to the sport for my coaches. It gives different challenges, because obviously each individual has a different injury, each individual has a different thing that they're dealing with, and actually that sort of problem solving also adds an extra dimension of fun to it, I guess. But it depends on what level of performance you want to go into. Since my accident, I've always wanted to take it to the highest level that I can. Um, but not everybody wants to do so. So I guess confidence, if you want to take it to the Paralympic level, if you want to take it to the if you want to take it to that level, and that level isn't easy. A lot of people think, well, as soon as you're disabled and you're doing sport, it means you're going to go to the Paralympics. It's just the same as saying someone who goes on a casual bike ride saying they're going to go to the Olympics for cycling. It's um it's it's crazy. It's very difficult training, long hours, and it's very tough. So if you want to, if you to answer the question, if you want to take it to that level, that high level, you need to have confidence in yourself and your abilities, and you need to trust yourself and trust the process. It's a long process, and it's slow, and it's difficult. Um, But in the end, if you believe in yourself and you believe in that, and you look for those small changes, those small improvements, yeah, then you can do it. I think it's very important that people find their thing, especially with a disability. Sometimes be very difficult and limiting. And that is whether that is if you choose to do it or so. If but however, if sports isn't your thing, then find something else. For me, I think that the world that we're living in is becoming more inclusive, and it's definitely got a long way to go. Um, and it's a process. But I think it's definitely, if that is something that you want to do, then that is something that is starting to become more. There's starting to become more opportunities for you to do so. Um, but like I said, the the idea that as soon as you do sport and you're disabled, that you're going to go to the Paralympics it's not one that I agree with. I think it's very much, you got to put in the work. Um, so luckily, the young people with disabilities have an advantage. It's it means you get more time to train your sport, and in a way, it was weird. It was difficult for me being so young and having to deal with this. But I've realized now that it's quite a blessing actually that my accident happened to me at such a young age, because I now have the most amount of time in my sport to really take it to that level that I want to take it to. And I think actually, the way that inclusivity will be increased is just through having more attention on these sports, and having more people talking about it, and having people seeing it as more of seeing it more available. And um, I think representation in the media is improving, but it can definitely improve more. Um, with not even just sports, but just with disability in general. Just yeah, I think the way that the world is going now, just that representation in the media is what will increase inclusivity, and just normalize it almost. So I definitely think that it's important for people to shop around and do their research a little bit. Try loads of different sports, especially if you're newly disabled. Try loads of different sports and see what works for you. There are groups. There are specific groups for specific disabilities that offer a wide range of activities and sports for you to do. And once you found one that you enjoy, just get stuck in and speak to the coaches. A lot of the coaches will know a lot about that sport. And actually, after a while, if you keep turning up to training and keep just doing what you can do yourself to work on it, then you'll see progress. And if it's meant to be, it will be, and then just keep on pushing yourself and the people around you to give yourself the opportunities to do so. And if you're willing to work for it, then you'll get it. My hope for sport one day is that people will be speaking about it, and especially in this disability sport and with para rowing, that it will become a spoken about thing and just a household conversation. People are starting to realize that people are starting to see us, and starting to accept us as members of society and people who can actually make a difference in this world. Um, and yeah, I think just seeing that grow and seeing that increase is just something that'd be great for me.